So what I want to show you in that tutorial is how to create custom nodes from existing node. And that's what I have done already in that scene. I've created a node called voxelize. You can see the type of the node, which does not exist by default. And if I can still now create new nodes for voxelize, they appear in the tab menu. And you can go inside, you can see which nodes it is made of. So in that case, I take the input, I scatter some points, and I do some manipulation of those points. We're going to see that later. And whenever I create a new node, then I can simply apply the input geometry. Let's say I'm going to create another text, so custom node, and I'm applying this new voxelize node, and I can see that it creates the same effect. So we essentially create something that is reusable, and because that's extracted from the scene, we can use it between scenes, and so you could modify that tool in one scene, and then when you reopen it into other things, those changes would be propagated. So that's really useful to create scenes which are scalable or where you want to work with multiple people as well. So let's see how to create one from scratch. So I'm going to close this. And I'm going to start from that scene which is a different project, so the voxelize node has not been created in that project. So for instance, if I type voxel, I do not have that node available. So let's start on creating it. So I'm going to delete almost everything. I'm going to keep this text. I will make it flat. Let's center it like that. And I'm going to instantiate points on it. So I'm going to use a scatter, and then I want to make the points like a grid. So I will use the point expression, the point sub, to round those values. So I'm going to round the x, I'm going to round the y, and now I do not have enough points, so I will make that larger. And now if I go back, now I don't see the points because they became too small, so let me just add a material, and I will add a point and assign that point. Now the points are much more visible. So I will need more points like this. Yes, now we can see the text that we had. Probably going to add even more. Here we go. And now I'm going to instantiate boxes on it with the copy. And now we can see that the frame rate has dropped, and that's because if I look at the output of the copy node, we have 12,000 boxes, unique meshes, which is too much. So what I can do is I can use a fuse. And we have 12,000 because that's however many points we feed into the copy sub. So if I use a fuse, then all the points which are in the same position within that threshold are going to be fused into 1 point. So now I have about 600 points. I put that into the copy sub, and now the frame rate is perfectly fine. So now I want to reduce the scale of the box so I can see the detail between them. And that's it. Now I can actually should go back. So this is our voxelize setup. But now if I want to reuse that, the only way to reuse it is, let's say if I create a new scene and I want to apply it to, let's say, a sphere, then I need to copy the node, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, and it's not exactly working because I think I forgot to round the Z. So, and I also need to remove the normals so that the points, the boxes are not oriented along the geometry. But as you see, then it's hard to reuse because I just need to copy the node from one scene to the other. It becomes just cumbersome. So what I want to do in that case is that's where I want to make it a reusable tool. So the way to do that is I select all those nodes, and I can do create subnet, and now we can see that all my nodes are inside the subnet, and it's a bit better. Now I can just copy paste this, and it's just one node to copy around, but I still have to modify them into places, so it doesn't really move the needle very much. So the next step is, once we have a subnet, we can create polynode, and that's where it becomes very interesting. So I'm going to create a new, that's where I'm extracting that node from the scene. So I'm going to call it voxelize, and I'm going to define the inputs. I just want one input, so minimum 1, maximum 1, create polynode. And I can add parameters, which I don't need to do now, so I'm just going to close this. And now you can see that this node, the type of the node is voxelize. And from now, I have access to it in the tab menu. So if I was to say, take a sphere, as I did in the other scene, now it will apply what I wanted to apply. Still has the errors that we've seen, we still need to fix that. But we start to have something that we can reuse. And now if I go into the other scene, I will reload it. And actually I probably saved it, but I just had this sphere. And now I have also access to it. So now let's fix those issues. Let me save this. So we have scene 2. And let's fix this issue so that we have something that works correctly. We can fix that in, let's say I'm going to fix it in that scene. So I can go inside, and here let's say, so I have forgotten this, to run the PEZ. And I also want to remove those normals, so I will do that right before the copy. So I need to delete the normal attribute, delete attribute, and I want to delete the normal. So now our boxes are perfectly aligned. And now I can say edit polynode, close, update, and close. And now if I go into that scene, so I'm just saving that scene, and I can now reload, and the sphere will appear the same way as it was in the other scene. So that's really it. That's how you can create reusable components. This is just the beginning. The flow will be improved so that when you edit one polynode, you actually desynchronize it from its definition first. So you can edit it. Right now they can all be editable. There is also going to be a marketplace at some point where you can upload them and share them with people easily. At the moment, you can already share them. It is, if you look into your project, when you create a polynode, you have a polynode folder that is created, and all it is a JSON file. So it's easy to edit, easy to share. It's just one file. But it could still be more convenient via a nicer interface. So that's a starting point. Let me know if you have any questions, and enjoy. Thank you.